And it's a good Sunday morning. Welcome to Church of the Total Man, a church for men. So get your Bible, a cup of coffee, a notebook, or just sit back and listen to wisdom of the ages as we go through Proverbs chapter 27. Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring. Are you guilty of boasting about tomorrow? I know I am. I have a planner. I'm a goal-directed person. I wake up and I think about what I'm going to do today, tomorrow, this week. None of those things are guaranteed to us. Is it saying that we shouldn't plan? No. Should we just live by our whims? No. I do believe that we are stewards of our time. We are stewards of our resources. I think the sin is not about talking about tomorrow. It's boasting about tomorrow. Boasting about things. It's almost as if it's talking about pride and boasting. Pride and boasting go hand in hand, for you don't know what tomorrow may bring. It's not talking about being a good steward of your resources, of your animals, of your products, of your services, of your business. Boasting is different than stating facts about what you will do. There's a certain amount of arrogance that comes along with boasting. Let another praise you and not your own mouth, a stranger and not your own lips. We've seen in the past, I'd say maybe 15 years of internet, that there are review sites, Google Reviews and Yelp, and so many places where you can actually take surveys about where you just ate, where if you are in the service business, people can evaluate you and rate you on a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 5, or would you recommend that? Probably one of the best methods of growing your business is to let other people praise your work. Those are called testimonials. Do you have good testimonials? Or are you the kind of person that just brags about yourself? There's a difference between stating facts. For instance, if you have a business that went from 0 to $1 million in the past year, it's okay to talk about that. There's methods that you use that other people are not using, and people want to know that. This comes right after the part where it says, don't boast about tomorrow. Kind of fascinating. So let other people praise you, but don't boast with your mouth. A stranger and not your own boasting lips. There's nothing wrong with showing the path that you took to success to provide a good product or a good service, or how you built your family or your business. Nothing wrong with that. It's just consistent with the don't boast about things. A stone is heavy and sand is weighty, but a fool's provocation is heavier than both. People that instigate trouble, people that wake up and think, who am I going to troll today? Who can I instigate today? Wrath is cruel, anger is overwhelming, but who can stand before jealousy? Interesting. Is there anyone jealous of you? I have friends that say your criticism, people that critique you, are always below you. No one who's doing better than you criticizes you, ever. One friend of mine asks the question, would you ever trade places with your critics? And the answer, for me, is always no. Better is open rebuke than hidden love. That's true. That very same friend talks about, would you rather hear the cold, hard truth or comforting lies? That's really what this is. Think about this, written thousands of years ago. Better is open rebuke than hidden love. Same principle, isn't it? Everything that we need to live is in the book of Proverbs. Everything. Everything that we need as men, as far as encouragement, as far as warnings, as far as who to be drawn to and who to be away from, to avoid, to not associate with, is here in the book of Proverbs. That is why I chose it as the first study in Church of the Total Man, a church for men. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, profuse are the kisses of an enemy. Again, along the same lines. One who is full loathes honey, but to one who is hungry, everything bitter is sweet. It's like shopping when you are hungry, right? Everything looks good when you're hungry and you're pushing a shopping cart around a supermarket or a store. You put things in that cart that you wouldn't buy when you're not hungry. This is why it's not good to get to the point of desperation in anything in life, because our hunger, not just for food, but our hunger for relationships, our hunger for closeness, gets affected when we are lonely. Like, never be lonely and then go onto a dating site and start looking for love. It's like shopping for food when you're hungry. You will make decisions based upon your hunger, upon your lust. This is why I think arranged marriages probably were the best method for choosing a mate. Your parents knew better than you. And in the youthful years, we made foolish decisions, as all young men do. Like a bird that strays from its nest is a man who strays from his home. It's dangerous out there for a bird that strays from its nest. There's a lot of predators out there. A man who strays from his home. We need human relationships. How many times out of our hurt and disappointment have we isolated when actually everything that we need is near us? How many times have we gotten into trouble when those that we love have warned us ahead of time about things, but we end up having an appetite for self-destruction? Wasn't that the name of an album, Appetite for Destruction, right? How about the appetite for self-destruction? Oh, look, there's a woman that will get me into trouble. Come over here, baby. Don't stray from your home. Your home is wisdom. Where is your home? Here, right here in the book of Proverbs. Oil and perfume make the heart glad, and the sweetness of a friend comes from his earnest counsel. In other words, as oil and perfume makes the heart glad, like to smell good. You clean yourself, you come out of the shower, you take a long hot bath and relax, clean yourself up. You put on your various oils, lotions, and potions or whatever. Comb your hair, comb your beard, put some oil in your beard, groom it nicely. You feel good. You feel unstoppable, clean, ready to take on the day. As oil and perfume make the heart glad, and the sweetness of a friend comes his earnest counsel. Friends tell us the truth, don't they? How interesting. Better is open rebuke than hidden love. Sometimes the truth hurts. Many times friends can see things that we can't see. Why? Because we have blind spots. Did you ever have a friend who was dating somebody and you just got a bad feeling about it? And then they end up getting engaged and you're like, oh. And you see the trouble because they don't. But you know if you say something, it's going to jeopardize the friendship. That's difficult. That's happened to me a couple times. Counsel from a friend. You know, we talked about this. There's wisdom in a multitude of advisors and counselors. That's why I talk about mastermind groups and how great they are in your personal and business growth. Do not forsake your friend and your father's friend, and do not go to your brother's house in the day of your calamity. It's interesting. The note of this says, the point of this instruction seems to be that one should develop relationships beyond the immediate family, for relatives are sometimes unwilling or unable to come to our aid. You heard me say this, that your network really is your net worth. How rich are you? It's not just the money in the bank, the house, or what you own. Your net worth is your friendships. Who can you call for help or assistance? Whether it be money, resources, or just good counsel, who can you call? That makes a man really rich. Show me an isolated man. Show me a man that tapped out and has self-isolated, and I will show you a guy that when he gets into trouble, no one's going to notice. He will not receive help, and he could be on a self-destructive path. Be wise, my son, and make my heart glad, that I may answer him who reproaches me. A father talking to a son. Be wise, my son. Use wisdom, my son. The prudent sees danger and hides himself, but the simple go on and suffer for it. Again, wisdom in a multitude of counselors and advisors. People who can warn you. People who see danger ahead. Danger, Will Robinson. It's like the guy who saw that a bridge was out. This is a true story in upstate New York. During a storm, a bridge fell down into the river, and the man saw it before his car went over the edge, and he stopped. And he was warning people as they were driving towards him, and there were people that just zipped right past him and over the edge of the bridge, down to their death. He tried warning them. He knew of the danger of the road ahead. Some people you just can't save, but that doesn't mean you can't try. Take a man's garment when he has put up a security for a stranger and hold it in pledge when he puts up security for an adulteress. Big difference coming to the rescue of a brother, of a friend, of a trusted person in business. And then here's guys coming to the rescue and aid of an adulteress. How many times have men of all ages defended an adulteress? Many times in the men's community, we call them white knights, people who run to the rescue and the aid of a poor, helpless woman. But you don't see them come running to the aid of a man, a fellow friend, a fellow sojourner in this world. Whoever blesses his neighbor with a loud voice rising early in the morning will be counted as cursing. Good morning, my neighbors. A continual dripping on a rainy day and a quarrelsome wife are alike. Drip, 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 drip. A lot of times we call that nagging. Just stop it. Stop it. To restrain her is to restrain the wind or grasp oil in one's right hand. Can't be done. We saw earlier where it said it's better to go on the corner of a roof than to be in the house with a quarrelsome wife. Better to live in a desert. Better to be away from it. You're not going to stop it. Deal with it. That's not me. That's Proverbs. Don't be hating. A continual dripping on a rainy day. Do you ever know a woman that just wants to argue about everything? Like, you say up, she'll say down. You say no, she says yes. You say steak, she says chicken. You're not going to change human nature. It's not going to happen. Well, you can train your woman. You're not training anything. You're going to train a bird to not fly? A dog to not bark? Dogs bark. They don't meow. Fish swim. They're never going to walk upright. It's not going to happen. Just like animals, human beings, male and female, are true to their nature. As we might say, deal with it. Iron sharpens iron, as one man sharpens another. Iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another. That is true. Do you ever check someone? I do. And I get checked. Makes me stronger. This is why men's relationships are important. And there is an organization called Men of Iron. And what is the implication there? That comes from the book of Proverbs. If you know Men of Iron, it's all about men checking each other, keeping each other accountable, making each other sharp. Iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another. Show me a man who has isolated himself, and I will show you a dull man. Show me a man who can't take correction, rebuke, guidance, and I'll show you a man who is a fool. That's why I say, don't hang around fools or people that do hang around with fools or do business with fools. Whoever tends a fig tree will eat its fruit, and he who guards his master will be honored. The natural consequences of taking care of a tree, a plant, is the fruit or the vegetable that comes out of it. You get the fruit of your labor. He who guards his master will be honored. Diligent work and honest service is always rewarded. As in water, face reflects face, so the heart of man reflects the man. That's interesting, isn't it? The note says this: just as water reflects our outward appearance, like a reflection, like a mirror, you can see your face in a puddle, so the thoughts of our hearts reveal our inner nature and character. We are always revealing ourselves, aren't we? Sheol and Abaddon are never satisfied, and never satisfied are the eyes of man. Now, where did that come from? Again, I'm referring to the note where it says, the insatiability of the eyes involves endless desires that become destructive. Never satisfied are the eyes of man. You always want more. There's nothing like being satisfied. Nothing like it. It's a beautiful thing. Then you can kind of rest when you're satisfied. I mean, there's the people who just always want more. Always want bigger, better, richer, prettier, curvier. Think about the things that we pursue as men. There is a progression. We always want more, especially when it comes to addictions, especially when it comes to vices, substances, women. We want more, better, bigger, curvier. We are insatiable. We never truly are satisfied. There's nothing like being at peace. Think about it. Peace with yourself. Remember when I said a man settles where he has peace? Can you imagine where you make a decision and you feel good about it? You're at peace about the decisions that you make. The crucible is for silver, and the furnace is for gold, and a man is tested by his praise. Public praise does test a man's character, doesn't it? We have seen a lot about pride and boasting in this particular chapter, 27. The temptation of pride, the temptation of boasting. A man is tested by his praise. Some people just seem to pat themselves on the back all the time, don't they? I think this is why review sites online are really good, because it's other people talking about your product or your service, and not you. But how do you act when someone does praise you? Do you act in humility? Are you gracious? Crush a fool in a mortar with a pestle, along with crushed grain, and yet his folly will not depart from him. Sometimes you can't separate a fool from his folly. No matter what you do, foolish decisions come out of some people all the time. Know well the condition of your flocks, one of my favorite, and give attention to your herds, for riches do not last forever, and does a crown endure to all generations. Know the conditions of your flocks. Do you have alerts for your bank accounts, for everything that goes into it, every single deposit, every direct deposit, everything that is withdrawn? Are you aware of what your cash flow is like? In the agricultural world, your flock was your bank account. Your chickens, your goats, your sheep, your cows, the oxen, that was your wealth. If one or two was missing, you'd be aware of that, wouldn't you? Because they are your money. Now, fast forward a few thousand years. Are you aware of what your cash flow is like? Know the condition of your cash. What is going in and what is going out. You've heard me say jokingly, happiness is positive cash flow. That means you have more money coming in than going out. Or do you feel like you're just staying afloat? You make $100, you get a bill for $100, and you think to yourself, Just seems like I can't get ahead. You can, with a multitude of counselors and advisors. Aristotle talked about us being like the beasts of the field. We live to eat and eat to live. A little bit nihilistic, or as we might say in modern vernacular, black-pilled. Aristotle said some good things. That's not one of them. When the grass is gone and the new growth appears and the vegetation of the mountains is gathered, the lambs will provide your clothing and the goats the price of a field. Again, the reward for your work. There are seasons of planting and just nurturing, and this is not just an agricultural picture. There's planting, there's nurturing, and then there's harvesting and enjoying things, and then you have to plant again. But everything in life has a cycle. There will be enough goat's milk for your food, for the food of your household, and maintenance for your girls. This note, I can't ignore this, where it says, economic resources of a renewable sort, flocks and crops, animals and plants, are preferable to riches that cannot be replaced. Renewable resources. Careful attention to the providential order of nature generally ensures lasting provision for our needs. The ecological implications of this passage are even more obvious in the modern context. Joni Mitchell talked about it in one of her songs decades ago, where she said they paved paradise and put up a parking lot. Do you ever get angry when you see a beautiful forest get torn down only to put up a shopping center? I know in my area here, the deer and the foxes live in the woods, and then a few acres are cut down, and they put some new houses up, or a new, like at the end of my street, they put a storage facility, and it was all woods at one time. That's where the deer and the foxes were. And you've probably said that before, where you might have never seen foxes or deer in your neighborhood, but we keep kicking them out of their natural habitat. When we take care of the earth takes care of us. Well, that was Proverbs chapter 27. Next week we're going to do 28. And we learned a lot today about boasting and pride, taking care of our money situation, knowing what's going on with our cash flow. Very important. We learned about you're not going to change the nature of a woman who can be like a constant dripping. We learned about men sharpening other men. This is why it's important. It's not just friends, like male friends sharpening other men. It's fathers sharpening their sons. And without a father, a regular father in his life, a son can go astray. So a man gets divorced and only sees his kids twice a month, and all the kids see is mom's boyfriend shacking up. We're keeping it real at Church of the Total Man. Mom's boyfriend has no stake or concern about those kids. He's only concerned about one thing. If men don't sharpen men, then you end up with a dull man. What is sharpening for? For cutting, for chopping, for production. Sharp tools get work done. Dull tools get nothing done, and they are dangerous. Iron sharpening iron. I hope Church of the Total Man is sharpening you. I'll see you next week.